Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are joining us from. I'm Annette Richmond, and this is Content Marketing School. And I'm so excited to have Vicki here with me today. Vicki, I sort of found you through our mutual friend, Brenda Meller,
Yeah.
started following you on LinkedIn. And I was like, wow, I've gotta ask this smart woman to come on my show. And luckily for me, you said yes, and I'm so excited to actually meet you and chat with you. So for anyone who doesn't know you, please tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Well, first, I want to say thank you so much for inviting me onto your podcast. It's such an honor. Once we connected, I checked out your content too, and you're impressive. So let me just put it that way. And I love Brenda. So I am Vickie O'Neil, and I am a YouTube growth expert. I help women over 40 get started and grow their business using YouTube.
Well, I love that, and one of the reasons I love it because I'm sure you know, as I do too, because, I love video, that women particularly are so like, "Oh, I'm over 40. Oh, I'm over 50. Oh my gosh, I can't be here. I can't be there." So we can talk a little bit about that later, but I'd like to start, by talking about your channel, and as I mentioned, we were talking a little bit before we went live, that, you have it organized in such a great way. It shows exactly where to go. There's not an overabundance of playlists like mine where you're like, oh, maybe this, oh, maybe that. It's really, really well organized. And I'd like to ask you, because I'm thinking people have either no organization or poor organization. I'm kind of leaning towards maybe no organization, just videos up there. So can you talk a little bit about that? Why it's important, maybe some tips for people who just have their videos up there for, randomly.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's awesome that you have yours organized. Even though you think you have it over organized, you're already like steps beyond where most people are. So I applaud you for that. Most people, when they start a YouTube channel, just because they don't know how to use the playlists,
Mhm.
they will just basically use it as like a video repository, a video, place to just kind of store videos. So that if they start it that way, which I know a lot of people that do, myself included, that's what I was using YouTube for when I first got started too. And then I realized that when you organize it in a way where you kind of think through like how your ideal customer might need information.
Mhm.
And so creating playlists, which for anyone who doesn't know like what that might mean or what that might look like, if you're over 40, then you're going to get my reference. It's like having those green hanging file folders. You remember those?
Yeah.
So the green hanging file folder is like the playlist name. And then those manila folders that you put in there with the labels on each one, those are like the videos. So when you think of like if you're going to a meeting and you're like, I'm going to grab this one green file folder and I'm going to take it with me because so and so needs it. Same thing is true with playlists. If I've
Mhm.
got a client, in fact, I did this recently. Somebody was asking me, she actually has a disorganized, funny that you mentioned that. She said that she was disorganized with her YouTube channel and she wanted to get more organized with it. And I'm like, great. And she'd also said that she was struggling with like what to do with it next. So I have a playlist created with how to get started with YouTube. So she was kind of like re-energizing her channel. She had started it, but she wanted to kind of go back and take it more seriously now. So it
Mhm.
was a perfect playlist to send to her. And I said, hey, based on where you're at right now, because I took a look at her channel. So I'm like, I don't
Mhm.
want to just say, hey, start here. Here's the playlist. So I
Right.
said, here's the playlist. Start with this one because I think it's going to give you the most value.
Mhm.
So now when she's in there, she's got access to all these other videos without having to go and search and find them on my channel. So it becomes like organizing it is not just about like the aesthetics, which, like, as you mentioned, Annette, it's all about do you look organized on your channel? But it's also thinking through like how can you take a playlist and send it to someone
Mhm.
to allow them that binging opportunity to
Yeah.
really learn what they need to know. But then in the process, they are, not only binge watching your videos, but they're also starting to see you as an authority
Mhm.
because you're
Mhm.
creating all of these moments for them to learn and understand and even take them from like where they are and where they want to go. So
Mhm.
there's all these benefits to organizing it and having those playlists on your channel. Just start with a few. You can change them. You can delete them. I had one on there. And I was like, this really isn't working. So I deleted it. And when you delete a playlist, it doesn't delete your videos, it just deletes
Right.
the playlist. So
Mhm.
there's a lot of value in doing it from that perspective. And you can optimize them. So it's another opportunity to get seen.
Wow, okay. So I love that analogy because it makes it very easy to understand, and I'll tell you, I think people that are working in corporate or working in a home office, we still have those files
I
with
still do
those
too.
green hanging. I have them. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people do. There is still, I'm sure corporate America still has those hanging folders, even if
Oh
everything
yeah.
is on the computer somewhere.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
People still want to see, you want to, hold that paper sometimes.
Yes.
So, and one thing I wanna mention too is because I know one of your playlists is specifically for, like, women over 40,
Mhm.
and, you know, what can for someone's listening, a woman over 40, and I'm guessing it might not be only for women, maybe people over 40 even?
Yeah, it's for anybody.
Okay. Yeah. No, but I mean, but it is different. Can you talk a little bit about how that's different than maybe the start here?
Yeah, so it's more or less like looking at it from the perspective of when you're over 40, you bring a lot
Mhm,
more to the table than you do
mhm,
if you're 20. So we have life experiences, we have stories, we've got challenges and how we overcame failures. And so we have all these things that we can bring to our videos that a lot of times when you're first getting started with YouTube, you think, I just got to create a video and get it out there. And so when you kind of take a step back and say, what can I do with this video? How's it going to help the people who are watching this video?
mhm,
That's what those videos are about. Now, some of them are like how to get started, but it's
mhm,
more to lean into like yourself as a woman, as
mhm,
women, if you've had kids or if you've had multiple careers or you're juggling different things, right? Sometimes that can play into what they're doing with their business. If they're already doing multiple things, it's like, hey, you've done this before, and here's the benefit and the reason why. Because
mhm,
there's all of these opportunities to find new clients that you may not find on LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram. And then
mhm.
there's an opportunity to also not only create your legacy over there, but you can also monetize it. So if you're going to be spending all this time creating content, which is why I talk about this a lot, and it might start getting to people because I'm all like, do you want to spend all your time creating and cranking out content and like have it only last for 48 hours? Or do you want to invest more time up front creating videos that are going to last forever? So that's more or less like what I'm talking about in that particular playlist.
No, I love it, I love it, and I'm glad that you already mentioned, monetizing because, I wanted to talk to you about that. Now, I am just, recently even trying to grow my YouTube channel. I mean,
Yeah.
it was like I had less than even 200 people for a longest time, and I've had that channel for a long time. But
Mhm.
I'm just learning to just, starting to build it. Um, so the monetization is not for me anytime soon. However, I do hear more and more people talking about monetizing their YouTube channel.
Mhm.
And your a lot of the content, the things that you talk about, is sort of monetization, maybe kind of maybe from the back end where you're using the YouTube to get leads for your business. So can
Mhm.
you talk a little bit about kind of those 2 things?
Yeah, definitely. Let me ask you a quick question. When you said that you can't or you're not quite there for monetizing your channel because you have 200 subscribers, why do you think that is?
Because you have my understanding is you need to have, I don't know, 1,000
Mhm.
subscribers, and you need to have so many watch hours, and I'm
Yeah.
just, while I don't know all the numbers,
Yeah.
I do know that I'm not close to hitting any of them.
That's what I thought you were going to say. So I wanted
Okay.
to frame it that
Is that a
way.
myth?
What?
No. So that's correct though, right? I mean, there are kind of like,
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. So, and
okay,
that's actually what I talk about in the video that I'm releasing tonight on YouTube. And it's about
okay,
monetizing. But so that's what a lot of people think. And that's what I thought too, is that getting on YouTube, that the only way that you can monetize your videos was through the YouTube partner program, which is what you're
right,
talking
right,
about. That's where
right.
you can place your ads in videos.
Mhm.
You do have to have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 public watch hours within a rolling 365 days. So our friend Brenda Miller, you probably
Yep.
saw that where she announced it, where she and I was so happy for her.
Me too.
I was like, yes. So she hit that threshold. Good news for you and I and everybody else who is not, at that point is that you can still monetize your videos. And the reason why I say that is because you can do it through lead magnets, which could be free, or you could do it through low ticket offers, which is paid.
Mhm.
So an example is I had a video I published, I want to say maybe in November or December. And it was part of this series that I was creating where it was walking you through like every step of the process. So planning your videos, recording all of those things. So I decided to put a low ticket offer in place. It was $1,700. And so with all of these videos, I decided to put that as the link in the description. And
Oh,
that
okay.
link, it gave you resources for every step of the way. And there were some things that I had to create specifically for that series, but then some other things that I'd put other places that were completely free. So what I did is I had that link in every single video. And like in my video, I would mention it. Hey, if you're,
Mhm.
if you're watching the planning video, go ahead and click the link in the description, download the resources I have for you, and you can walk through this with me in each video. So now I've
Oh,
created an
okay.
opportunity for them to have exactly what they need that's going to help them with each video I created. And it's only $17. So who can't afford $17?
No,
So
no,
it's
no,
yeah.
no, no, I love that, I love that, and so it sounds kind of like, a limited podcast where you create it and it's to draw people in so that the
Mhm.
videos are specifically in a series to help people that leads them to this.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
But they're still on my channel. So if you go there, they don't only access it through the playlist.
Mhm,
Like you can access it if you just go to my channel and click on
mhm,
videos and you
mhm.
go through, it's still listed there. I
Oh,
just
yes, yes.
yeah.
But I'm just saying I'm just talking about the design of it
Oh, yes.
is to be a series
Yes.
where and I know I've done that with short form video, where I've done a
Mhm.
series of, videos in a certain theme or something like that, and
Yes.
it has been, has gotten fairly good engagement for me to do it in that way.
Mhm.
But I love that, and, it's funny because, I am very conscious of putting, talking about whatever, a lead magnet or an offer or something like that on my podcast. I never ever even thought about it
Yeah.
on my videos. And sometimes it's rare, but sometimes I will get, several hundred views on a video if it's a short or something like that that
Yeah.
grabs people's, which is, highly unusual for me, but it does happen and I never even thought about it.
Yeah.
So you've made me smarter. So
Yeah. It's just a great way to just kind of bring everything full circle for people, but then for us as creators, it doesn't matter how many subscribers you have.
mhm,
You can do it with 0 videos. In fact, I'm actually sharing in the video I'm publishing tonight, somebody that I had talked with. I did an interview with her in a different video, but I wanted to talk with her for that particular reason because when she started her YouTube channel, of course, she had 0 subscribers, and she was talking through her experience. So, as a new video creator, not necessarily just with YouTube, but you've got your phone sitting there. Well, that's what she was using. That's what I typically use too. Sorry, I keep hitting my computer. But I've got my phone.
mhm.
And so you could actually see her go like this to press record. And then she
Oh
had a
yeah,
whiteboard and she was talking about one
yeah.
word. And then she'd go back and you could see her go like this. She did 0 editing. It was just one take. She uploaded it. She had an offer for $33 and it was for like a half hour or something with her. And so the first month she did in January, I think it was 2021. And in that first month, she made $220.
Wow, I mean, that's fabulous. I would have thought, "Oh my goodness."
And then from there, it's just scaled. She just reported it was probably about a month or so ago because I'm connected with her on Facebook. Not
Mhm,
a fan of Facebook either. But that's where I spend some time.
mhm.
But she posted on Facebook not too long ago that she just passed over the threshold for, I think it was $80,000. It was like the $1 million mark. So it was around
Yeah.
83,000, 86, whatever it is. So now she's making that much money on YouTube through her programs only, not the YouTube partner program, from her,
Wow.
her programs only.
So while I am surprised that she would get that much with a video that was recorded like that, I'm so glad that you mentioned it because so many people think your videos have to be perfect,
Mm-mm.
and they don't, and they
Nobody
don't.
likes perfect, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I know.
They don't.
But that is a fabulous example of
Mhm.
someone who just shared good information, and I
Yeah.
think that LinkedIn, although you can do, longer videos on Instagram and also on TikTok, and when I
Mhm.
was, live streaming when I live streamed to Instagram, I was able to go into the archive and then share it on my, on my, Instagram account. And so
Mm.
people would, watch it even though it was 30 minutes.
Mhm.
But I think that at least when I think of long form video, when I think of, more instructional how-to videos, I think of YouTube, even though I'm on like TikTok more often.
Yeah, exactly. I just think it matter I mean, you know this because 'cause you're on the different platforms too, that it depends on where your ideal target audience is. So, they're not just on LinkedIn. So, anyone who thinks that that's the only place they need to be, they're missing out someplace. YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, someplace. Because people are spending time on LinkedIn, that's not the only place that they're spending time.
Well, the thing is too, I'm a big DIYer. I mean, I whitewashed our fireplace. I learned to cut my
Nice.
hair during the pandemic, and if I want to do something, I'm looking for a video. I look on TikTok. TikTok, I will say, is usually my first because I'm just looking for something that's kind of quick or maybe a series. Or
Yeah.
I go to YouTube. I'm not looking if I'm looking for how to something. I'm not looking on LinkedIn, much as I love it, much as I'm active there all the time, I don't think it's where people go to look for how to pretty much anything.
Yeah, exactly. They're going there for networking and more business-oriented stuff, not how-tos. Yeah, I agree.
So I also wanted to we were talking about this a little bit, the idea that, anyone who's on YouTube at all, and I know I've had people like YouTube has kind of been notorious for flagging for copyright infringement,
Mhm,
primarily video.
mhm,
Sorry, primarily music copyright.
mhm.
And I've had videos where, it was like the music wasn't aired in certain countries or wasn't allowed, or it was flagged, and for the most part, being flagged for copyright, and to my understanding, if it's still up there, they let it play, but they just give you a little flag on it, that the main thing is that you can't monetize it. It's not
Right.
like they're taking it down. Like if you put something on TikTok, they just take it down. They
Yeah,
just don't allow it on the platform.
yeah.
But, I've had guests on my live show who, like, downloaded the interview with me, and then they put it on YouTube, and it was flagged like the intro, the outro, or if I play music, I'm demonstrating something. However, as I mentioned to you, I have seen a shift just very recently where I've uploaded something that I created on TikTok and I threw it up there, and then it's like, "Oh gosh, I didn't the music," and nothing, and nothing. And I've done that, a couple of times. I just did it, today where I uploaded something and I thought, "I don't," and it has not been flagging yet when I go through and look as I'm processing through the YouTube, publish, and it says no copyright issues. And
Nice.
so we were kind of talking about why that must be, and I know as soon as we're done here, you're gonna go and you're gonna try it and see what happens. But, it's it has happened consistently for me, with a few videos that I've done over the past couple of weeks. And again, as I said, it was kind of like, I did it and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to remove the music," or whatever. So
Mhm.
what's your thinking on that?
Yeah, so that's a great point because I'm surprised that they're being more lenient because if anything, I thought that they would get more strict.
Mhm.
So what we were talking about earlier too, and you came up with the idea, and I was just like, yeah, that's a great idea that they might be more lenient because of TikTok, right? So they want to be more competitive, more accepting, and not because if you're going to give people, strikes for every little thing that they do, they're going to be like, well, why am I spending time here? I'm just going to go over to TikTok. So
Yeah.
I think they might be being more lenient for that reason. But what I would say if you're like, I don't want to get strikes, Well, first I want to say the strikes for the most part really don't mean anything unless you get a bunch of them, or if you
Mhm.
get there's different degrees of strikes.
Mhm.
Um, if you're stealing people's content
Oh, yeah,
and
well
you get reported, then that's a huge strike.
well, yeah,
Um,
that's bad, yeah.
yeah, that's bad. But so there's different degrees, but I've also gotten some of those strikes too. And like you had mentioned, that might say it's not going to be viewed in this country, or, I did have one that the music was removed completely. It was a short. And so it's funny because when the music's removed, so is your voice. So they mute the entire thing. They can't separate the layers.
Oh,
So if
wow,
you watch
okay.
the video now, in fact, they did that on I think it was from TikTok, and I put it on Instagram and YouTube, and it was
Mhm.
muted in both places. And I was like, "Well, that's not a real valuable," and I didn't have captions on. So that's one of the reasons why you wanna have captions on
Oh,
these shorts, right?
yes.
Yeah. So there were no captions. So
So
if you
just kind
watch
of you
the
like
video, it's just like it's pointless.
wow. Yeah. So I'm glad you mentioned the captions because even though, a lot of the platforms now put them on,
Yeah.
like LinkedIn started. And I went to a seminar at my local chamber, did a seminar on copyright, and that the ADA came out with something in the last few years where if you have a platform, you need to have captions on your videos for
Mhm.
accessibility, which I
Yeah.
believe is something that's relatively new. And I was asking the lawyer who was giving the seminar if that might be why LinkedIn started auto captioning all the videos, and he said, "Yeah, probably." Because, it never was there, and all of a sudden, bam, there's, captions on the thing.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I still always, sort of hard code them. I think that's how the correct term, hard code them or burn them into my videos because
Mhm.
I wanna make sure they're there, and I wanna
Yeah.
make sure that they're legible and everything.
Yeah. I'll do that based on the platform, and the only reason why I don't do it on, like, hard coded is because, like, if you upload it to YouTube, people have the option to turn it on or off,
Mhm.
and so if they have it automatically turned on, then you've got, like, 2 sets of captions,
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
so unless you place them differently, like, if you place yours, like, consistently at the top, then you don't have to worry about it, but if you place them at the bottom, then you've got that issue with overlap, and they usually don't line up.
Mhm.
Um So if I add the captions, like what I used to do, and I would train people that I worked with as well, that before you upload your video, like have one video that you get from CapCut or your camera roll, like don't create one on TikTok and then download it and upload it to Instagram and upload it to YouTube because it doesn't go over. Like all the platforms know now where those videos are coming from.
Mhm.
Even if you take the watermark off, they still know.
Yeah.
So
Well
create it, separately or organically, and then upload it to each place. Add the captions from within each app. Same thing with
mhm.
the music, if you can. That's what I
Well,
would.
yeah, I will say that, I don't have a huge following on TikTok, but I have, like, enough that I can go live and things like that,
Mhm.
but Instagram and it depends if I spend more time on TikTok, my numbers go up a little bit,
Yeah.
but Instagram just, like, hates me. It
And
hates
yeah,
me.
I'm not a
It
fan
hates
either. I don't even
it
spend any time there
it
anymore.
it
It's
it
just
it it absolutely hates me, and if I have found with Instagram that if I do not use their music, they do not show my video,
sounds right.
but their music just is not very good.
I
So
know. I was telling somebody earlier, we were talking about Instagram as well, and I'm just like, the way I describe Instagram is either toxic or passive aggressive. Like there's no
yeah,
I don't see any goodness in Instagram anymore, but it's still a platform that people gravitate to. But if you've got your business there, then obviously they're going to stay there. But if you're
yeah.
just getting started, like it's not a healthy place to be.
Yeah. Well, one thing I wanna say, and then we're getting close to the end, so I do wanna ask you to share your final thoughts of whatever, but I just saw a TikTok video the other day with someone who, a young woman, yeah, oh, look young to me, but I'm guessing she was probably, I mean, like, maybe around 30,
Okay.
or in her mid to late 20s. And she was saying how, Instagram is all our moms are there now. Nobody goes on Instagram. It's just like that's the mom. And used to be, I think it was like Facebook, and then it was like, oh, the moms are on Facebook,
Yeah.
so we'll go here.
Yeah.
But and I thought that was so funny.
Yeah.
So So I want to ask you, and I like to ask everyone who's on my show. I've picked up some tips from you, so I thank you for that. I know people listening will pick up some tips and techniques as well. But what would you like to share? Kind of as the final thought, because we couldn't cover everything. I didn't ask you everything. So, what would you like to share?
Oh, thank you for that. I appreciate it. So I would say that if you're thinking about starting YouTube, or if you have a channel and you haven't visited it in a while, to re-engage. Um, it's not as hard as you think it is. I think a lot of people are intimidated by the technology, but if you can record a video on your phone and you just go to YouTube and it walks you through the entire process. So you don't need a degree. It's not difficult. It's super simple. I'm all about taking messy action. So we were talking about earlier, there's no such thing as perfection. And if you go back and look at anyone's first videos, including mine, including Mr. Beast, including Lewis Howes, like whoever your number one person is that you think is, your thought
Hmm.
leader or go-to
Hmm.
person, their videos were terrible. I guarantee it. But if you don't get started, then you're not going to know what you need to do to get better. So taking that first step and not getting stuck in the mode of perfectionism. What are people going to think? It's going to be awful. Just do it. That's the best thing that you can do.
Well, I love that you said that because, I did a video not too long ago where in part of the video, I shared a video that I did before I worked with a video coach myself, like in 2021. And, here I am sitting at my desk and I had a screen, one of those screens behind me. And I'm like, I'm Annette Richmond and this is a networking nugget. And today I was like, oh my gosh. And it's just cringy. But, I think it's so true that you go and if you go back and look at anybody's things, unless I don't know, maybe a very high level influencer that the videos are gone, but you will see that nobody jumps behind the camera and is, engaging and all of that. So
Exactly.
one thing that you have to do is tell us your YouTube channel and where people can find you because that
Yeah.
wasn't mentioned.
Yeah. They can just search my name just like it is on LinkedIn. So it's just Vickie O'Neil.
Okay.
Um, and you'll see it. My photo's the same everywhere. But I would say go there, subscribe if you like the content. And, I would say look through some of the videos first to make sure it's a good fit for you. And if it is, subscribe. And then you can always connect with me on LinkedIn too. We can DM, we can connect there, have a conversation, and just take it from there.
Okay. Well, again, I thank you so much for joining me. It's been such delight chatting with you. And for everyone else, I will see you next time.
Thanks again, Annette.